AEW have crowned a brand new champion, and Jeff Hardy is officially All Elite. First, let's go to the latest on WWE's potential plans for Cody Rhodes leading up to WrestleMania 38. Dave Meltzer would discuss the situation on the latest episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio, where he revealed a possible date for Cody Rhodes' return to the Fed. Meltzer would discuss WWE's upcoming show in Jacksonville, Florida, the home of Cody's former employer, All Elite Wrestling. Next Monday's episode of Raw is scheduled to take place in the River City, the potential site for Cody's return, and Dave would say, obviously, WWE wants him for WrestleMania. Time is running out. There's Raw on Monday in Jacksonville. If he's going to be at WrestleMania, it would make sense to me that he would debut in Jacksonville if they had a deal, which we don't know. If he's not there, I would presume the deal is not close because that was the day that they wanted him for, from what I understand. He had stuff set up for WrestleMania and it was off the boards a couple of days ago. Talks were still going and I guess we'll find out. A recent report from Fightful Select noted that pitches have been made for Cody to take on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, which would shoot Cody straight into the main event picture. On the shows, Rollins is currently unhappy that he isn't booked on the Mania card and seemingly is looking for an opponent. Perhaps he'll find one when the red brand rolls into Jacksonville this Monday. It's worth noting that a recent report from Ringside News stated that plans for Rhodes at WrestleMania had been removed from internal documents. However, WWE have been able to hide certain information from leaking, as we saw with the main event of the recent Madison Square Garden show. Now let's get to our first story from last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, where a brand new stable was formed. The show would begin with a face-off between Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston following their match at AEW Revolution. At the pay-per-view, Kingston would win the match before Jericho refused to shake his hand like he promised. Last night, Jericho seemed regretful for his actions, stating that he respects Eddie Kingston before finally shaking his hand. The moment would then be interrupted by 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, who ran to the ring to attack both men before Santana and Ortiz of Jericho's Inner Circle made the save. Jericho would then have a change of heart, attacking his now former stablemates with a baseball bat. Jake Hager, also of the Inner Circle, would come to the ring looking conflicted before joining Jericho's side, attacking the other three men. Hager would then drive Kingston through a table with a vicious powerbomb from the apron, almost breaking his neck. Jericho would then introduce the new faction as the Jericho Appreciation Society before saying that's entertainment. So the new group consists of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, and 2.0. This pays off weeks of teases of a split of the Inner Circle, with Jericho now going full heel, something that he was edging towards leading up to his match with Eddie Kingston at Revolution. Next up, a certain three-letter wrestling company has allegedly attempted to get a venue to cancel an upstart wrestling promotion. It was recently announced that the Control Your Narrative promotion will be holding a show in Dallas, Texas over WrestleMania weekend. The company, led by EC3 and the former Braun Strowman, have recently announced a TV deal with Pro Wrestling TV, with them beginning to hold live events. Strowman, or now Adam Scherr, would reveal on Twitter that a non-WWE promotion has tried to hinder their upcoming Dallas show and said, "Definitely not talking about WWE, but there is another three-letter brand running a show close by that is so afraid of what we're doing that they tried to get the venue to not let us run our show." Pretty scary how scared the industry is of a bunch of so-called nobodies. CYN founder EC3 then revealed the identity of the promotion that attempted to block them and said, "MLW did try to get us cancelled out of the venue because we're running at the exact same time as them. Control Your Narrative will take place right next door to MLW, who tried to have us kicked out of the building." Interestingly, Major League Wrestling recently filed a lawsuit against WWE for disrupting their business. The case alleges that WWE has made ongoing attempts to undermine competition and monopolize the professional wrestling market by interfering with MLW's contracts and business prospects. If the story of MLW trying to block CYN from a venue is true, this isn't exactly a good look for them and won't help them in their case against WWE. However, with that said, this could potentially be a work, with maybe the two shows crossing over on the night, but that remains to be seen. Now let's get back to AEW Dynamite, where an on-screen manager has been fired. After being eliminated in 2 recent tag team battle royals, FTR and Tully Blanchard would be interviewed backstage to discuss the losses. Dax Harwood would state that whilst they do want to be tag team champions, he wants to prove himself as a family man. He then said that he wants to focus on taking out Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, who eliminated them in the aforementioned matches. This would anger their manager Tully, who said that they need to focus on the AEW tag team titles, which is the only reason that he's managing them. The disagreement would lead to Cash Wheeler stepping in to tell Tully that this is a family and he's no longer part of it, and said that he's now fired. Tully made his All Elite Wrestling debut in August 2020 before leading FTR to the AEW tag titles within months. His future in AEW is now up in the air, and it's currently unknown if he'll be finding new clients. Elsewhere on last night's show, a huge title match was announced for next weekend's St. Patrick's Day edition of AEW Dynamite. A rematch between AEW Women's World Champion Dr. Britt Baker DMD and Thunder Rosa is now scheduled, which is of course a rematch from this past weekend's AEW Revolution. The announcement followed Rosa's win over Layla Hirsch, a victory that crowned her as the new #1 contender. Rosa came close to winning the women's title at the recent pay-per-view, but Baker's minions, Jamie Hayter and Rebel, interfered to help Britt win. In order to avoid any further interference, the match is set to take place inside a steel cage, which in theory should help keep the finish clean. Not only this, but the St. Patrick's Day edition of AEW Dynamite will be held in Thunder Rosa's hometown of San Antonio, Texas, with many thinking this will mark the end of Britt Baker's near 10-month reign. The two would main event last year's St. Patrick's Day Slam in a brutal lights out match, with Rosa scoring the win shortly before Baker became champion. Now let's go to some WWE news, where 2 major NXT call-ups are incoming. According to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, former NXT champion Bron Breakker and Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson are set to be called up to Raw or SmackDown. Breakker is scheduled to take on the new NXT champion Dolph Ziggler at the upcoming TakeOver Stand and Deliver event, where Breakker is apparently set to win the title back. However, Meltzer noted that this could change if a call-up occurs, and he would say, "There is talk of him going to the main roster pretty quickly. He's wrestling on this weekend's house shows. Maybe he'll lose and just go to the main roster, I don't know. Him and Gable Steveson are supposed to be main roster bound. That's a tough comparison because Bron Breakker is going to make it. Gable Steveson is a phenomenal athlete though." Steveson recently joined WWE after winning a gold medal in Olympic wrestling and is tipped for a big future. He is yet to actually wrestle for NXT, but he is in the Performance Center. Breakker has made a big impression on NXT since his debut back in September 2021, and he is of course the son of Rick Steiner and nephew of Scott Steiner. Now let's go to the main event of last night's AEW Dynamite, where Sammy Guevara defended his TNT Championship against Scorpio Sky. Sky would be joined at ringside by fellow American Top Team members Dan Lambert and Ethan Page, as well as former UFC fighter Paige Van Zant, who was in the front row of the crowd. During the match, Guevara would attempt a signature 630 splash from the top rope to the outside through a table, but Sky would move out of the way, leading to Sammy landing hard. This would lead to his real-life girlfriend Ty Conti coming out whilst doctors checked him over. Scorpio Sky's stablemates would cause multiple distractions throughout the match, with Paige Van Zant jumping the barricade to attack Ty Conti. This led to Sky hitting Sammy with a cutter, picking up a pinfall victory. Van Zant would then drag Conti into the ring, throwing her on top of the fallen Guevara before signing her AEW contract on top of them. It was then confirmed by the commentators and AEW's official Twitter account that Paige Van Zant is officially All Elite. This angle positions American Top Team as a top stable in AEW, with them having added gold as well as a legit MMA star to their ranks. The victory makes Scorpio Sky the only person to have held the AEW Tag Team and the TNT Championships in their career, although his reign might not last too long, with him set to go up against #1 contender Wardlow next week after he won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. And finally, let's go to a huge story from last night's episode of Dynamite, as Jeff Hardy is officially All Elite. Matt Hardy would gather in the ring with his Andrade Hardy family office teammates, where a board meeting was held. There would be a vote by the group regarding Matt's future, with him being unanimously voted out, with the stable simply becoming the Andrade family office. This would lead to a beatdown on Hardy before Darby Allin and Sting attempted to make the save, but the numbers were too much for the three men, with the AFO managing to stay on top. Jeff Hardy would then make his much anticipated debut, managing to help clear the ring. Interestingly, Jeff would enter the arena to the classic Hardy Boys music that they used in WWE for most of their run as a team. AEW would pull this off by licensing the song from its creator Zach Tempest. The song is named Loaded and can actually be licensed by anyone, and it isn't owned by WWE in any way. After the debut, Jeff's brother Matt would take to Twitter to post a short but emotional message about his brother and said, "The emotion is real, we need each other more than people understand." In contrast, the Young Bucks would change their Twitter bio to take a shot at AEW's new tag team, stating that they have a much better duo, and said, "Crazy, growing up our favourite tag team was the Hardys, and now fast forward all these years later and AEW has a much better tag team called Young Bucks." The possible matches for the Hardys in AEW's tag division seems endless, and it's highly likely that they will get a rematch with the Young Bucks somewhere down the line. The two teams have wrestled each other 5 times in Ring of Honor, House of Hardcore, and Northeast Wrestling, with the Hardys winning 3 of them. Perhaps the Young Bucks will be looking to even the scores soon enough.